investigative journalist and Daily Ledger contributor, Kimberly Dvorak. Kimberly, thank you so much for being on the show today. The executive order in and of itself is shocking to those that know and understand the Constitution and the separation of powers. But putting that aside, what in the executive order, who has to leave? Who are our priority one people that actually have to leave? Because we know about 5 million get to stay.
Yeah, well, let me just also let you know that, the president is within his rights to defer the deportation. That is within his right as a president to make an executive order to defer or delay deportation. Where the president goes wrong is that he, goes further and says, well, while they're waiting to not be deported, we're going to give them status so they can work, which requires a green card. And that's where the president goes in and change the congressional law on this matter. So as a result, the president now has put out there that there's going to be, priority one, priority two, different people that we will be looking at deporting immediately. The top one priority are terrorists, which I guess we weren't deporting before, now going to be a priority, national security threats, gang members, murderers. Those folks will now be on the #1 priority list to be deported. And I'm assuming, hopefully, that the country's not in bad shape, but we're probably looking at, maybe 10,000 people. That's certainly not going to make up for the 5 million he's going to allow to stay here and unilaterally grant them access to work and therefore competing for jobs in the United States.
I mean, I should hope that we are focusing on getting the terrorists and the murderers and people that are involved in gangs out of our country. That is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But when we look at the executive order, and granted, a lot of presidents have done executive orders in the past, but the way that this president has particularly done them, not only with immigration, but in my opinion with the war powers, is quite astounding. But when we look at that, in my opinion, it's not if, but when we're going to see litigation on it. That being said, we have already seen some lawsuits come out as it relates to immigration issues under STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math visas.
Yeah.
Can you provide us a little more information on those?
Yeah, actually on Friday, the Federal District Court in D.C. actually granted standing to a group of STEM workers who filed a lawsuit claiming that the Department of Homeland Security, much like the president did with his executive order on immigration, unilaterally changed the time limit that STEM majors and STEM workers could stay in this country. And therefore, the STEM workers that filed the lawsuit said that it had cost them roughly $175 billion in lost wages. Now you're starting to see the higher education in particular, starting to catch on to the fact that the H-1B visas that the STEM majors fall under, that they're able to go out and work, and they're seeing that corporations are able to take advantage of this loophole and provide lower paying job for American graduates who graduated from the exact same schools that these STEM majors did.
Well, I actually am a firm believer that we should have some immigration reform as it relates to the STEM visas that are issued. If the United States is going to remain a global leader in innovation, we want to have the best people, the best and brightest minds here creating the new technologies that we're going to see. Bill Gates testified in front of Congress in that exact same concept. It's important to have the best minds. We don't want to educate them and give them all these skills and then ship them back to their other country so they can innovate in that country. I think we should, if we can, try and keep them here, keep those best and brightest here. But circling back to the executive order, we know that we've seen priority 1 and priority 2 that he's been addressing. What about for security? Did he hit on what, if any, his order is going to touch on the security in this country?
No, the executive order was very light on details regarding what he would be doing to secure the border. I made a recent trip to Arizona and actually showed how wide open the border is there in Arizona as well as here in California. It's nowhere near secure. The president did not say how he was going to stem the tide of more illegal immigrants crossing that southern border once this is, made permanent. There's nothing to stop them. We have done nothing to secure the border fence. And my challenge to the White House, to large corporations who continue to hire these illegal immigrants, what is it about American workers that they do not like? And I want to circle back to the STEM argument and ask that, or put the question maybe back to you, that STEM majors, we have college graduates that are 50% of them are not getting their degrees in their STEM major. 50% are not getting those degrees. The president continues to talk about giving forgiveness or helping out these college students that need help with their student loans and they can't make it and they're not getting jobs, they're working at Starbucks, what have you. Well, how about we give them good paying jobs, and why don't we give them jobs first? And if we're not educating our STEM graduates who are going to the same universities as these foreign STEM majors, you know what? What are we doing wrong in our education system from K through 12 to where they aren't even able to compete with foreign workers coming to this country? So there are a lot of misnomers about this, but the bottom line is we should be caring about American jobs. We should be caring about these students so when they graduate that they can jump into that middle class somehow, some way, buy a home, have a family, get their kids to go to college. But at the rate we're doing it, we're providing an education to foreign workers and we're giving them that opportunity. And we're telling American students, in essence, you're too stupid and you're not smart enough to actually, do the job here. And those are the facts. And I think the American people really voted in this last election. It wasn't necessarily just immigration or just Obamacare or just the economy. They're seeking change, and they would like to see that there are some jobs created here in this country and that kids can have a bright future and that we can tell our kids, look, you do the right thing, you work hard, you go to university, and you too can have that middle class or upper middle class dream that you're seeking. But as it sits right now, we are giving every advantage to others who are crossing the border illegally, overstaying visas, or coming through and paying full ride at these universities. We're giving them the opportunities, and we're not giving that same opportunity. And I know college graduates want a job. That's all they want.
Definitely. People go to college, they want to be able to graduate and get a job and contribute to this country, and that's exactly what we should be focusing on and what they should be focusing on. And we'll have to watch and see what happens with the actual implementation of this executive order, because I think, as I mentioned earlier, this isn't the last of it. We're going to probably end up seeing it in court.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Kimberly, and appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks.
Coming up next.